boyfriend, right? But he's not really.
He's not.
He's not.
Yeah.
He respects her boundaries. He was hurt when he jumped to conclusions. He's a high school student. He saw her in a room with somebody else. And let me tell you, if I was dating somebody and they didn't keep up with me, like I was like, where the fuck are you? I don't know where you're at. I was looking for you, or you were weird that day and I didn't see you later. And then I go to your house and I look through your window and you're there with some other dude. Like, I'm gonna be pissed. Now, am I gonna go you're
gonna slut on the movie?
Yeah, I'm not gonna like slut shame her.
Christ,
I'm not gonna
dude.
slut shame her. So Steve was wrong there, and Steve made a mistake, but Steve knew he made a mistake. And you know what?
Well, Steve
he
didn't
went to
do
go
it.
make it right.
Steve didn't actually do it. He just didn't tell
Yeah,
the
but
guy
he also
not
didn't
to
stop
do
it.
He did
He
it.
didn't
He didn't
stop
stop it,
it,
and he
though.
didn't actually do it. But you know what? He went and cleaned it up.
Yeah.
And he didn't go over to Nancy's house right away. He went over to Jonathan's house to apologize to him first. You know, like he found Nancy at Jonathan's house, but he went there looking for Jonathan.
Well,
you know, like.
He got his ass beat by Jonathan too. Which
He got his ass beat, but he was
that
there
was
to
the most.
guys. Like Steve was the realest character to me because one, he seemed like a guy that just wanted to get in some vajayjay. All right, cool. He's a high school student. We get it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as you respect boundaries, which he did. He got his heart broken a little bit. He misunderstood his situation. How could he have fucking known they were fighting otherworldly beasts? You know, like, and when his friends, you know, peer pressured him, it looked like he did some crazy shit. He realized the mistake he made. He went to go fix that shit like a man. And then he goes in there and he like grasps, like he doesn't necessarily grasp the concept of what's happening, but he seems to flow with it pretty quick because it's flying at him enough to beat the shit out of that thing with a baseball bat. At the like they set him on fire, they shot him, but no, Steve. Well, see, and he even does that little twirl. He does that little twirl with the bat. You know, like he hits
he's a baseball
him, like,
player. He's obviously a jock, right? So
I'm getting my hand in here so you can see the twirls. Like, he like switches and then like bam and like hits him again. You know, like,
he didn't do it. He didn't do a bat toss at least. But yeah, he was supposedly a jock.
But he did a twirl. He does like a little like.
Exactly right. So he was a jock. That's why it was just like surprising that. You know, he got his ass beat before all of this. So
because he didn't have a bat. If he had a bat, he would have won that fight. Clearly.
Okay. I guess what that tells you is crazy.
Just do the Deadliest Warrior simulation and give him a bat and see how it pans out there.
Oh no! What it tells me is crazy always trumps athleticism. If you're crazy, you're gonna beat the shit out of somebody.
He had the equivalent of mom strength, but boyfriend strength. He had boyfriend strength.
Jilted lover strength.
Jilted lover strength, which is almost as strong. No, and then in the end, they're still together. Nancy and him are still together.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, "What the fuck?" Because they're used to a mold. Right? Yeah. Like the
will they, won't
Jonathan was the quiet, you know, whatever. Yeah. Jonathan's fucking creepy, man. And Jonathan, he's a reasonable dude, but at the end of the day, he looks like, what does he look like? He looks like the kid that played in Terminator.
Oh yes,
with like,
Eddie Redmayne
or something.
Eddie Redmayne, right? Or, not Redmayne. It's Eddie. Eddie
no. No, not Eddie. He's the little kid in Terminator mixed with like Dwight Schrute or some shit. Like
what?
He looks weird, man. He's a weird looking dude. Like let's just say it. Nancy's got to care about looks.
Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong. Yeah, Edward Furlong. It's like Edward Furlong and like Dwight from The Office, like mixed their face and like that, and it became this guy, like this creature kid. No, you know he's. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, most people thought that she would end up with him at the end, but she didn't. She ended up with Steve. And I liked that because I think it was more realistic.
Type. Yeah.
It went against type. Yeah.
And it's like we get another season of the will they, won't they, you know, dynamic, which is everyone loves that. Pam and Jim, you know.
Pam and Jim. We all love Pam and Jim from the.
Well, my most annoying character was definitely Nancy. I felt like her character, I wasn't even sure what her character was supposed to be about because, you know, in the beginning, she's obviously that annoying sister. And then, you know, she's like that nerd girl, that real clean cut nerd, you know, just girl who's a virgin, obviously, that's really pure girl who ends up dating the Steve guy, right? I mean, it's like a very typical type of
yeah, but it's like that's like high school, right? Like you're trying to find yourself,
and that's totally
you want to break out of your shell, and like if you're like stuck as like the goody two shoes in high school, that sucks. No one respects you. You know, they convince you to do your homework for them and like all that shit, like.
Yeah, but and that's totally fine. And then, you know, they go through that whole, you know, there's always going to be that scene, right? She gets, offered a beer or whatnot, right? And she's gonna get drunk for the first time or something like that. And then she has her good friend Barb that's sitting there being her conscience, I guess you could say. And that whole thing kind of played out. Barb ends up dying, right? And then all of a sudden Nancy just like, she's concerned about Barb, and we talked about Barb already. Like, nobody gave a shit about her. Only Nancy gave a shit about her, right? But even that didn't even play through all the way. It's like she dies, and then she's kind of sad, but then she's over it after that, right? And then she just becomes really obsessed with trying to kill the beast. And so she, gets with Jonathan, and she just ignores the fact.
Vengeance, man.
She ignores the fact that Jonathan was taking, just pictures of her changing and nude, and she's
I like that
she's
about
okay
Nancy
about
though.
That. She's totally
Nancy,
okay with
I like that Nancy.
She respected his art. She liked
she was willing to look, because I think that we all do creepy shit in our own little way, And I think that this was the thing that she saw him doing that was creepy, and she still accepted him even after that. Like she could see beyond just going, "You're creepy, man." She said, "Okay. This kid, he's a little bit quiet. He's a little bit more artsy. He was looking for his brother." Like, she almost kind of gives it, no, it's still creepy. And he apologized. He throws it out there. Yes, it's wrong. Jonathan knows it's wrong, but like, she's willing to kind of like put it aside. And that shows like a little bit more of like maturity in Nancy, that people are sometimes different than what we think, and that we don't necessarily have to just like judge them right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right. I think it showed maturity in Nancy. By the way, you can't prove she's a virgin. I think that you should take that back. We don't know she's a virgin. Is it ever said she's a virgin? Because she seemed pretty nonchalant about it. Like, she's like, "We slept together. It's not a big deal," is what she tells her mom. Like, okay. I thought that she was a virgin.
That's true. I assumed that she was a virgin, but I guess there's no proof of that.
This is a good PSA also for any of you college students or high school students, college students. Don't ever interrupt the fucking party. All right. Don't ever. Don't play anyone's conscience. Nobody likes that. You're gonna end up in the other.
Oh my god.
You're gonna end up in the upside down and dead.
You're gonna be.
You try to stop someone from having fun at a party. Don't be that girl.
No, but in the end, she ends up trying to kill it. They come up with this extravagant plan with Jonathan, which was mostly her. Yeah, I feel like she was driving it more than Jonathan was, and. They didn't end up killing him. I don't know. I just felt like her character was, I don't know, meant to play a bigger part, but she didn't. She just ended up being an auxiliary part, and a part that just didn't really matter that much, to be honest.
I wouldn't say it didn't matter.
Really? I mean...
Yeah, I wouldn't say it didn't matter. I don't think it mattered as much as we thought it would, but we learned a lot about the beast. We learned that even though it's set on fire,
the blood part was because of the blood part was because of,
I mean, she's the first one that we get to see actually go into the upside down and get a good look at what it's like there. Yeah. So and she makes it out alive,
okay, all right.
Because that tree gave birth to her.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like when she went through that portal, she's man. It's like the tree, like it's like he was helping birth her through the tree. Like she's crowning, grab her hand, like pull her out. It was weird. Like, why didn't it do that on the way in? Why did it do that on the way out? Like, it's.
I love the fact that their mom too, like Nancy and Mike's mom, is so oblivious as to what's going on in her house because I mean, so you've got Steve coming in or Jonathan sleeping over there. Then you've got 11 who's lived there for a couple days, and she just she lets them have their space. She just stays to her kitchen. What a good mom. Her stays to the kitchen and the den and her bedroom, and that's it, right? That's.
I know. I love how she hadn't been down there in a week. I like when the dad's like, "There's no way you could be having a girl down there."
Oh my god, the dad is
the fucking dad. God damn that dad. What a boring father. What a boring, mundane father.
Dude, he's just like a big sappy yes man. Like
he's just there to be a potato. Like I love how he's like, he couldn't have done that, could he have? Like that's basically like asking the mom, like, I don't know. I'm not watching these kids. like, this could totally have happened. Oh man. That dad. No, but you want to know, the one thing I do like about Nancy is that, man, she is fucking brave. That girl is brave. Think about it, putting this in a real life context of your own life. If you saw a tree with a little demon portal at the base of it that you could crawl into, and even if you did muster up the strength to like poke your head in there to see what was going on, as soon as you saw all those like tendrils and shit, I know I wouldn't be crawling through there like some kind of DZ Discovery Zone kind of shit. Like I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. Like she's just like in there like what's over here? Like totally oblivious to the fact that like a creature could just smash her head in as soon as she sticks her little, you know, nose through there. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't have the balls to crawl through that portal for many of my friends. Maybe if Junie was on the other side or Cora, you know, but like Barb, like, I don't know if I could do it for Barb or a Barb equivalent in my life.
I mean, would you even crawl through a tree that even looked like that? Forget the fact that it's potentially some kind of crazy portal. I don't even think I would crawl through a suspicious-looking giant cave-looking or, you know, hole anywhere. So yeah, to your point, that was, she is pretty brave. I give her that.
But she went in there. Okay, that might, okay, some people might say that's stupidity, but she went in there. She saw what she was up against better than anybody else. Actually, she knew what she was up against better than anybody else because she's the only one who really had eyewitnessed it besides the mom. She went in there, she came back and was like, let's get bear traps. We're gonna kill this motherfucker. Like she's pretty ballsy. I like that part of her character because you wouldn't expect that out of you know, a girl who's silly with boys in fucking high school, you know, like it's not something you would attribute to somebody, you know, bravery or, you know, at least I think it's bravery. I don't know, courageousness, whatever you call it, out of like
or
a
just
high school
vengeance.
girl.
She wants some vengeance, that's for sure. Just with,
but I think it was like less about vengeance for. I know she mentioned Barb, but at a certain point, it almost seemed like she was just doing it for fun. At a certain point,
she doesn't even care about Barb in the end. You know, her best
Nobody
friend.
did.
Yeah. Hey, so you guys want to take a caller now? Sound good?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Okay.
And before like dicks and penises and fuck her right in the pussy, right?
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
All right. So we've got, all right, this is going to be our first caller on the show. It's Kira Bright, I think is, or no, Kira BCGHC. Here we go. All right. I hope this person's ready. Monkey said that they'd be ready. Here we go. Kira, you there? Oh gosh, hello. One of these. Hello, you gotta unmute. Hello. You gotta unmute your mic. Gotta unmute your mic.
Oh, is it muted in the?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, we always go through this. We're gonna have to give them a second here, but
it's the second show, everybody. It's the second show. Mistakes happen. Ting. You know, like it's just one of those things. We're trying out something.
Oh, here we go. Okay, they got their mic. Oh no, they don't. What's going on? Shoot. Oh, I know why. Oh, it's my bad. It's my bad.
Oh, did you like limit the room to only be able to talk to the people you allow?
Oh my god!
It's actually my bad. Oh my god!
Ask us a question?
Wait, what? Man, what? Hold on. Here we go. Okay, Kira, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, wow. Your mic is loud. Your mic is super loud. I can turn you down a little bit, actually. Okay, say something.
Hi.
Okay, I think your mic is still turned up really, really loud.
Are you using like a laptop mic?
Hello?
Can she hear us?
Yeah, she can hear us.
I can hear you.
Okay. So what kind of mic are you using?
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out the mic. So let me get Monkey to work with you on the mic real quick before we take her again. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be the first try, guys. Again, we're just trying this out, and we'll see. So, Monkey, yeah, if you're listening, make sure
second episode.
Make sure their mics and stuff are good, and then we'll try to pull on some other folks. But in the meantime, we can talk about some more.
So we were talking about Nancy. I feel like there was something we haven't talked about. What was it? It was related to Nancy. Crap, I can't remember now. I totally lost my train of thought. What scene was your favorite scene? Let me ask you a question then. What was your favorite scene in the movie Diction? Like the scene that made you go like, "Oh shit."
The bicycle chase with the fucking van flip.
Oh,
that was shot so well.
That was
such a good. Just they showed it all in a wide shot. They didn't overcut it. It was awesome. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like a scene from like a John Woo movie, man. It's like, and they like look over, like staring at the car going over them, and that was freaking awesome. Man.
I like how the kids mention it later too. They talk about it's like, yeah, Elle threw a van over us. Like it was pretty cool. Like a bunch of people died. It was pretty cool, you know.
So what do you think about Elle's bleeding? By the way, Like, she bleeds from her nose. I mean, bleeding from her nose, okay, you know, that's cool. I mean, I can understand that. But then she starts to bleed from her ears and then her eyes. I mean, what my experience or seeing people bleed from their ears and eyes, that's not a good thing. That is a very
well, no, they know that. The
thing.
kids know that. They know that if she uses her powers too hard, that's what happens. Like, there are moments where she just like does little things, you know, like when she's floating the toy Millennium Falcon, and like no bleeding. Yeah. It was like that's an easy task for her, but like she hasn't used her powers to the extent where she can really control them that well and like actually control her body. So like it takes a lot out of her.
But that's the thing, like you know, she's actually bleeding, so her body's affected by this, or even potentially like forever. So I'm wondering if like there's only so much she can do. Like, you know, in that last scene, I mean, she used a lot of powers, and I mean, she was already weak. So you know, it's like I wonder like if she's going to be permanently, if she still is alive, will she be just permanently disabled? Because I don't know, something's going on like in her brain or whatnot when she's bleeding like that. I mean, she still is a human being after all. She just has these special abilities. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays any part too.
What kind of tie-in do you think that has with the fact that the creature needs blood in order to teleport, or he's drawn to the blood or something like that? Do you think that I don't know. I wonder, I'm curious as to what kind of tie-in that's going to lead to further on, where they're going to purposely make her bleed just so that she can get the monster to come chase her or something like that. Like, I found it funny that she bleeds all the time and this thing loves blood. Like, it's attracted to the blood. So it like furthers that connection between the two of them in a weird way, in kind of a small way, and again, an unexplained way. Okay. I don't know. It's something just kind of to think about.
All right, this looks like Cure is ready now. Let's try it. Here we go. All right. Oh, I gotta do it again. Hold on.
We all waited.
a little tricky. We're gonna figure this out. Kira, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
There we go.
There we go.
It sounds good.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. How are you?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Great.
Good.
Thanks for jumping on the show with us.
You are our very first caller, so thank you for being our first caller. No pressure.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any kind of question or anything to add to I guess what we've talked about with Stranger Things so far?
Yeah, I have a question. What do you think the effects of the Upside Down will have on Will?
Yeah, that's something that we speculated about a little bit, but
he was in there for like a week. Like and it's like freezing cold in there. Also, he's got slugs inside of him. I mean, I feel like
talk about toxicity, right?
Yeah,
talking about, we don't know what kind of toxicity it really is. Like, is it something like radiation, where over time you're going to kind of like break down and deteriorate, or is it like you would be poisoned by an ant? Is it something you'll eventually recover from? You know, it's weird because we don't know the implications of what he went through, and then also what the atmosphere actually did to him, and then what the creature actually did to him. So I don't, it's hard to say. I mean, something I was throwing around in my head a little bit, and we talked about this again a little bit earlier, was, there are creatures, there are insects and parasites and stuff like that, or I should say parasites, that will attach itself to a bug and get inside its brain and make it drown itself or go certain places or do certain things. This could be an extension of something like that, where it's just the bug is actually in control, or whatever is inside of him is in control of him, making him act normal. But there could be something very wrong with Will. There is something very wrong with Will.
Yeah.
We just don't know.
He could become kind of like a nemesis in season 2, where he's he's behaving strange and he's doing weird things that are counterintuitive to the group's, like overall goals and stuff. And like that could be a really cool, interesting plot device they could use.
Do you think they're going to end up in that position where they're trying to find a cure for it? Or do you think it's always just going to be, okay, he's contaminated, we got to kill this guy? And it's going to be one of those, that type of storyline.
Or like an Until Dawn kind of thing. Where I don't know, you get it tons. I felt like there was a lot of Until Dawn too, where you may get infected, but there may be some remnants of your past self there, and you may not necessarily you may fight it. Like I could see
conflict type of thing.
Yeah, I could see like him actually becoming one of these beasts, and then still kind of having an essence of will there, and it being like a deterrent for maybe attacking the kids or other people or whatever.
But he'd still have to
these
kill
are all
himself
speculation.
in the end, right? I mean, biologically, he's turning into something else. It's not just like a mental thing, right? So even if he was able to fight it mentally, in the end, he still has to destroy himself, right? Unless there's some kind of cure to this infection or toxicity, whatever it is, right? That's converting him into whatever monster it is.
Yeah.
All right. All right, Kira.
Well, thank you for the question.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, that was cool, right?
So cordial. Yes, that's
cool.
so nice.
All right, we got.
She's the regular in my chat.
Is she? Okay, good.
Yeah, she's
good
super
deal.
nice.
Good deal. All right, we got.
Super nice.
We've got Lucky Misfits next here. All right, Lucky. Here we go. Lucky Misfits, you there?
I'm here. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's all women.
Yeah, it's all women.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were gonna appeal to the female.
Our podcast is like a big sausage party right now. So.
we need
That's
two
right.
ladies calling in.
That's right. Hey, thanks for calling or thanks for joining the discussion. Anything you want to add, I guess, to what we've been talking about so far?
Okay, so the main thing that's been bugging me, like, okay, so you know that they go into this upside down world, right? And then 11 somehow either destroys or sends this monster back to wherever it came from, maybe back to the upside down, whatever. How do Will and the mom and the sheriff get out? Do they get out before she does that? Do they get out afterwards? Does the monster somehow control this gate, this panel? Like, how does that all work out? Like, it's leaving everything very, very open to me. And also, one more thing, the foreshadowing of the egg. I don't think enough people are looking at that egg and going, what's going on with that? Was that where the monster came from? Or is that a new thing?
A baby monster?
That's what I want.
I feel like
an alien, like an alien, when like the alien gets inside, it's different than a human or like any creature. It's a different thing. So like, could this be like an offspring of Barb? So it's like a Barb creature. Like,
no, please.
Think about it. No, it's true. It could have like like I said, like aliens. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like an alien's whatever creature that they face the face hugger attached to. It's not always the same alien.
If it's like a dog, it'll be like bipedal or whatever.
Yeah. So in reference to the egg might be something that is the first thing that has merged between the two worlds. It could be a merging of Barb and the creature, which would make some otherworldly egg hatching thing, and then who knows what the fuck that's gonna do, and they can just hop back. Actually, holy shit, actually, if you think about this, the egg, I guess it couldn't have been Will.
No,
but maybe it's Will, because the thing is that like Will's the only person that's shown the between the two sides without having needing a portal, right? So at the end, it was shown that he kind of like boom went into another dimension on the fly, boom came back to ours, never needing a portal. He's the only person to exhibit that right now. So it could have come from that egg and been that kind of merger between the two sides, and he just doesn't know how to control it yet. So he's maybe the person. Now this is I'm just throwing this out there based on what but it's something to think about. I think that there's some logic backing that up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Is Will actually Will, or is he some sort of alternate alien being of Will, kind of thing, like kind of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where it's the dog with the head on it, kind of thing? Like, is that what they're gonna go for with Will, or is it just sheerly like the leftover kind of egg deposit? You know how like in Hellboy, how the thing latched onto him and it laid the eggs in him?
Yeah, so he's just like a husk.
Is that kind of the storyline that they're going to go for? Is it going to be something where Will just isn't Will anymore and people just haven't figured it out yet? And that's where the egg comes into play?
I think it's the latter, actually. I think there might be just an egg inside him more so than... Like, he's still himself.
He's an incubator.
Right, yeah, he's just incubating like a baby monster. Whatever.
It could go either way. Yeah. That's the fun of it, though.
This is like a month later, right? Like at the end, it was like a month later.
Yeah.
nobody seems to be suspicious. He's been able to hide and contain this throwing up of, you know, slugs and this in and out of dimensions for a month without anybody really catching on to it. So I don't know. It's hard to say. Going back though to
but is that the first time he's thrown up a slug?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that that's the first time we see it, but who knows? It seems so. I think the reason that they made it so casual for him is because I think a month later, I think he's done this enough that he's just like,
it's
all
like
right,
the fourth or fifth time as he's had to like go like,
he knows when it's coming. He walked away to the bathroom.
He puts it in his
threw it up
napkin.
and came back. Like, yeah, it's almost like having like what is like an upset.
Also, that thing is now in the sewer system,
right?
So who knows what it's going to do down there?
Well, it could latch to a rat. Get a little rat timeless baby. No,
or
but
maybe
going back,
it eventually will grow up into something like that's just it's like, you know, what do you call it? You know, like a caterpillar turns into a moth or a butterfly or something. It's maybe it goes down there, cocoons up, and comes out something different.
Or it affects the Terra. I mean, it could be a seed. You know, it could be something that goes into the terrain and then warps it into the upside down. You know, something like that. I mean, that's possible too. Okay, so going back to your first question though. So there were 2 portals that were open in the last episode that we were kind of dealing with. The creature was using its own portals that it was opening, okay? And then it had the one portal that was open where the contact was made that stayed open always. So you had Hop and the mom go through the portal that stayed open. That was the one the government had at the bottom of their facility. They went in, saved Will, and came out. Now, during that time, and probably the reason they were able to do it so easily and successfully without having to face any monster was because the monster was preoccupied going over and fighting with the government and the kids and everything at the school. So if you're talking about like where's Elle at and where are they at and how are they, I think that Hop and the mom were using the portal, went and saved Will, grabbed him, and came back using the portal exclusively. Any other portals or any other things that you see where the creature's at is the creature creating those.
Yeah, and if it's reason within the reason of the show, if Elle did send it back at the school, that means that it's sent back where the school would be in adjacent to where the facility is. So like.
Yeah,
that monster wouldn't be able to make it over there to be like, hey, look at these people trying to steal my baby, dude. I'm gonna go kill them. You know, like it wouldn't make sense for it to be able to make that time.
Yeah.
My question with that was more like, okay, so say the beast, the demon, whatever it is destroyed. Does that then destroy the main gate? Now that Elle is with this creature or whatever, is she just in the upside down world?
Well,
kind of thing. I'm more curious about the main gate. Like,
no, they explained that Elle is the one that. No, Elle is the one that opened that gate.
Yeah, she opened
that gate.
I think she opened it with that scene, you know, where she
touched it.
Yeah, and when she touched it and screams like super loud, and like just almost like cracks the wall, you know, when all these officials were watching or whatnot. I think that was the scene that she opened the actual portal.
Yeah, exactly.
So it could have been theorized then that Elle isn't dead because it's still open.
I think it's
like if she dies, does it die?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going with it.
Yeah, that's possible.
That's interesting. Yeah, I could see something like that where the gate's still open is a testament to Elle's well-being.
It's just her like aura or whatnot that just keeps it open, like that whatever special aura she has around her.
Or maybe it's just maybe it's like it's open and that's it. Like there's no closing it. Like
I feel like it's just open. Yeah, I feel like, you know, just this instant of power surge from her or whatnot, you know, just created some kind of ripple in these dimensions and created a portal there, right? And so I feel like it's forever there. I'm curious as to whether Elle actually brought the monster back to that upside down world. Maybe it's like a third one that she created, you know, that just by doing this, because she doesn't really have that clear of a link to that upside down world. I mean, she can kind of go there whenever she's in the water, you know, and figure out a way to get there, but it's not clear that she actually has a connection to it. So
she has to have a connection to it, like because she was the one that opened it. She was the one that touched it.
Okay,
it created that thing. Like she definitely has a connection to it. Again, I still think even the bleeding is a sort of connection to the monster too. Like it's almost like they attract each other.
Yeah,
like they work.
That's true.
I don't what, and that's another question. Is like what are the rules or the science or whatever behind portals? How does this one stay open permanently while this one gets open and closed at the will of the monster? But then you've got the one in the tree that seems to kind of be just kind of open as well.
Well, it started to close. It was just closing very slowly.
I think it like I keep thinking about Pacific Rim, how like they learned about like the human world through the guy like jacking into whatever it was. Like because she touched this monster, does it now have the knowledge of how to create these little mini portal kind of things?
I see.
Oh, man.
Oh wow, yeah.
You're blowing my mind.
Exactly. That's actually. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like she just all of a sudden, acquires all the knowledge that Elle had. Wow, that would be crazy powerful. That monster would be like insanely powerful.
True. Yeah.
You would have the superset of everybody's powers.
It didn't seem to exhibit any like powers though beyond physical powers. You know.
I mean, it should be able to destroy everything, right? I mean, it didn't have to maul people. It could just telekinesis, just throwing people around, or just snapping people's necks by just like turning your head, like Elle did, right, to all those FBI agents or whatever they were. That was a
really crazy good scene. Sorry, just kind of jumping while you reminded me of her snapping the guy's neck the first time, because they put that cat in front of her, and they're basically like, kill the cat. And she's like, I can't kill this cat. And so they take her away to throw her in solitaire. And then, and when they do it, and they do that, or solitude. And then when they do that, she kills a man with her brain, which is basically like exactly what they wanted to experiment on anyways. Yeah. So instead of killing the cat, she's like, I won't kill a cat, but I'll snap that dude's neck and kill him. You know, and so that's when the dad comes in and is like I love you, way to go, you did a good job.
I feel like, I feel like he knew that she wouldn't kill the cat. And he set that up as like, okay, I'm gonna piss her off to the point where she'll kill a man. Like these dudes are expendable.
Sorry, that's so aside the point. But I just remember that scene. I was like, oh, I got to talk about that because that was a crazy good scene. They got what they wanted, right? But in a roundabout way.
But
it also shows the morality of the kid too. It's weird.
Yeah, well, the morality of the kid is just completely distorted at this point. But yeah, getting back to the monster, I don't know. I mean, it didn't have the ability to create portals before. So, to your point, it had to have learned something, right? I mean, there's nothing about the monster just because Elle created the portal.
There has to be that connection.
There's nothing about the monster that was altered to the just with Elle just opening the portal. Like just because he comes into our world doesn't mean that he knows how to create these rips right in these dimensions. I mean that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, there's something had to have happened to it, which was contact. And that seems to make sense. It seems to definitely make sense that the monster itself was altered too. That's scary, man.
Yeah,
that's
scary. Crazy. Is our world toxic to the monster? You know,
obviously
like
not. He
long-term toxicity. I know, but he wasn't in it for a week or something. Like Will survived like what 10 days. Yeah. You know, like the beast was never in our world for 10 days. But if he was, would he have some kind of oxygen toxicity?
Yeah,
because I guess there's got to be oxygen in the other world. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the monster was going through the school, I just now realized this. Okay, obviously people were shooting at it, whatever. But
whatever,
you
bullets,
see people shooting at it? Yeah, bullets, whatever. But you never see like that it's wounded, so to speak. Mm-hmm. When it's coming for the kids, if you rewatch it, look at its skin. It looks like its skin has changed drastically. Is that the longest that it's been in the normal world? And is our air then eating away at its skin? Or is that like a burn, like wound from where burned, right? Jonathan and them set it on fire?
Yeah.
Who knows, man? Like,
but when it first comes over and it's attacking...
Well, it's injured for sure.
When it's like first attacking Matthew Modine or whatever, its skin is normal, but then it comes for the kids, and then it's all wonkadoo.
What I thought is that it was hurt, but it wasn't injured, right? Like fire obviously made it uncomfortable and caused it pain, but it didn't seem like it debilitated or injured it in any permanent way or even a short-term way. It's not like it was limping around. It was
bleeding.
Anything.
It was definitely bleeding, right? Because
it was bleeding, but like. Ooh, it didn't seem to affect it in any long-term way. So if it is some kind of pain, it's probably superficial. Otherwise we may have seen the long-term effects of it. But that was something I was, you know, like people shoot it and burn it, and it just seems to keep going like nothing's wrong.
It would make sense. It would make sense that the air though is toxic to it, or it's not compatible with his body.
So then the fire hurts it a lot because fire is part of, you know, oxygen is part of that process.
Yeah.
You think in the bullet that would make the bullets useless, but fire actually, because it's a process of oxygen, it might actually hurt it more. It looked like it was in pain, but it looked like he didn't give a fuck about the bullets.
He didn't give a fuck about the bear trap.
But if you grab a bat,
if you have a bat with nails in it, yes, that is.
Yeah, he didn't seem to be bothered too much about the bear trap.
Yeah,
he didn't seem to be bothered about bullets, but the fire got his ass. I don't know. That's interesting.
All right. Well, thanks for the question. It's that was a good one. Man, lucky man. You might have to be a regular. Man, you got some good stuff here, man. That's some good stuff.
I like movies. Yeah, I enjoy this kind of stuff. Awesome. Anyway, show's great. Love you guys. Have fun.
All right.
Love you too. Thanks.
Okay. Well, that was a good one. That was definitely good. Definitely a good caller. I think that's going to be it for callers actually today. So if there's something in the chat, and you guys in the chat maybe have one or two things to talk about.
Yeah, again, there's just so much about the show that is not explained. I hope that season 2 does enough to start piecing together things in season 1 that were confusing. I hope that this is one of those shows where you can go back and watch season 1 again, knowing more about season 2 and 3 and the rules and the lore and stuff, and go, oh, that's why this person did that, or the creature did this, or that this portal opened up here, you know?
Yeah.
It's not even stated that the creature makes these portals, you know? We're assuming that he does because he ends up, you know, in the house so often and stuff, but like, who's to say that that's just not like a sort of hot spot, you know? Like there's so much about the upside down and the creature and everything that's so unexplained. So I hope that we can go back and watch season 1 after knowing more and be like, oh shit, you know, like that's crazy that they've been planning that out, you know.
Someone in the chat mentioned that the upside down looks like the Silent Hill world. Fun fact, that's what it's based on. The Duffer Brothers are actually big gamers, and they love Silent Hill, and they designed it and the monster specifically off of like Silent Hill 1 and 2.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Definitely good tidbit.
Oh, among the many references in the show, that's like one of the bigger ones.
One thing I forgot to mention too is that I really enjoyed the music in the show too. I felt like it set a good ambiance to it. You know, the 80s, there's obviously a bunch of 80s tracks too that are kind of mixed in there, which is kind of cool. But even just the theme song that they have, it kind of has this, it reminded me of like, Ex Machina. Yeah, like you remember the soundtrack for Ex Machina? Like this really, it's hard to describe, but it reminded me of that. So like it instantly just made this kind of eerie feeling for me, you know, just set that tone right from the get-go. And it kind of continued through the entire series. So
soundtrack's just awesome.
Yeah,
and like
it's really good.
The licensed music they used too was always really, really good tracks, and they put them in really good scenes that made sense.
Exactly.
I thought the music was pretty good. There's a question actually. It's a really good question from Molly in the chat. We said we'd take a couple. So
okay, sure, yeah.
What do you guys think about? And we didn't even talk about this. This is a great question. What do you guys think about 11 recognizing Will in the photo without ever meeting him on the show?
Oh,
true. You know that.
I forgot about that.
Really, and that's a great question because that was explained, and you kind of forgot about that. But like, that's a great question.
So Will disappeared the same night that the portal was opened. I think
he had to have been, because the portal was open. The creature came into our world. Will. He escapes the lab, pretty much like kills his way out, escapes the lab, and then grabs Will when he's out in the forest outside.
So that was the longest he's been in our world then, that first night.
Probably, yeah. And that would kind of make sense because he doesn't know what the fuck just happened. He, you know, the monster's in a new place. He doesn't know where he's at. He's never he's never been into our world before.
But he knows what it looks. I mean, he knows the configuration of it, obviously, right?
Yeah, he seems to.
Yeah.
Now that's like, I guess the structures and stuff would be the same over there. It's just, I don't know. It's again maybe a testament to the connection that 11 has now for the upside down world. Maybe she can sense in a way when people go through portals. Maybe that's how she felt like she was familiar with Will.
She could have intuited it, like with her telekinesis. Yeah,
intuited.
Could have tooted it. Yeah, and I don't know. It's a great question. I have no fucking idea. Like, you can just spitball stuff and throw it around, but who really knows? You know, like, I can't even think of anything else that would tell her that that's him, other than that she has a connection to the upside down world.
She might have. I mean, she might have this whole, you know, Xavier type of connection, right? With whatchamacallit, the thing that detects all the X-Men. Cerebral. Yeah. She might have that kind of thing going on too, because, you know, whenever she was in the water, she was able to find, you know, Will and find Barb, right, and see what's going on. Yeah. Find the monster too. So she has that ability of locating them. Maybe she could do that even outside of the water to some degree. At least just have a sense of somebody else being in that alternate world, or some uneasy factor whenever, I don't know, like, you even see this person like Will. She just didn't know if they were alive or not, but she could sense them in some way.
Molly says, I thought maybe she recognized him from the government play experimented on. Maybe he's 10. You know, like, he's the 10 to her 11. Oh my god. You know, I think like that would be I've thought about that.
There. Wow.
But that feels like something that would come up with, like, with Winona Ryder's character. Like, they, like, because, like, they took her from her mom and she had no way of getting her back. Like, she didn't even know what happened to her.
Nobody believed her. Yeah, nobody.
Exactly. I mean, she was I feel like if Will was, I don't buy that. I don't think that's, no, I don't believe that at all.
I don't know.
That just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
You don't think there could be any argument made for it at all?
No, because
a terrible upbringing. There were times they talk about her anxiety and stuff. Like, his mom wasn't always as good as she is right now.
Yeah, but I feel like it would have come up like my son was missing for a couple years. Like that would have been a big like, hey, this isn't the first time my son's gone missing. You know, like that never came up. So I feel like
it wouldn't have to have been like a long process. They could have grabbed him, you know, injected him with something, or had him stand and sent him on home without shit. Like, I don't know. It's a stretch. It's a real stretch. That's a stretch. But there's no explanation. There's no explanation why she recognizes him. So you got to kind of consider everything until more evidence is shown, right?
Yeah.
It's a great question. I think it's one of the mysteries, hopefully, that I was talking about, that when you watch through season 1, you'll go, oh, that's why she recognizes him. You'll get that kind of connection, you know, and I think that'll hopefully, that's what I'm hoping, you know, in season 2 we answer things like this. So
now I'm excited for season 2. It's they just announced it pretty recently, maybe even yesterday. Actually, they announced it.
It was a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So really excited about that. It'll probably be next year sometime. I mean, I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, given that's probably going to be 8 episodes again, maybe more. Maybe the success of this one, it's going to lead to more episodes.
They might bump it up to like 12.
That would be awesome.
Possibly.
You think they're going to use the same kids, or do you think they'll be like teenage years, like 7 years later?
They got to use the same kid.
Dude, those kids.
They got to.
They have to.
They're pretty iconic. I mean, I don't think you could just replace them with somebody else at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, they're of age. I mean, by the
time they start shooting the next season, it's going to be like, oh, like 7 months later, like they look 7 months older than they were in the last season. You know, like it's not that much of a stretch.
Maybe I could see this.
If they can pretend that Arya Stark is still fucking like 14 after 7 years, then
yeah, they
this is true. I don't know. I'm not saying that they would. I'm just saying it might just go into it in the teenage years, and then you have all this aftermath of all this shit that happened back in the day. I like stuff like that. Like I typically like things that focus on the kids, and then later on it comes back, and like the next thing is like them as adults, and it's like It. Stephen King's It is a good example of that. They started out as kids, and then the second half they're all adults, and how that all affected them, and you know how this went about. I can see that being an option for them. Now, you're right. I think a lot of the kids did really well in this, and I think everybody really liked, especially like Dustin.
They said it was going to be a direct sequel. They didn't specify like how much time is going to pass, but like they said, like it's a direct continuation of this story, so I doubt it's gonna be like they're gonna jump.
I don't know. It's like Kill Bill too. Like Kill Bill has like the kids, and those kids grow up, and then like
it'd be a shame for these actors because I mean this is a great opportunity for them too. So I think they'll probably stick to them.
I'm not worried about their salary, all right? I'm worried about my entertainment.
Well, your entertainment is directly correlating with their salary because these kids they fucking nailed it, and I want to see them nail
talent.
it.
Exactly.
I didn't like the one kid actor. I think it's Lucas.
Lucas, the black kid.
I thought he was a little touch and go sometimes. Well, I don't know.
I mean, he was the one that would come. I mean, like his dynamic with Michael, was it Michael? Shit, I forgot the name.
Mike.
Yeah,
Mike.
Yeah. I don't know. That was an essential thing. Like their crew, you can't just have their crew be agreeing on every single thing all the time. Like there has to be a contrarian.
Lucas was like so like brutishly angry. Like he would just flip off. And
they said about it's a jealousy thing
because
right?
he got jealous.
I'm not saying it's not explained. I'm just saying his acting was kind of shitty in some scenes for me. Like I'm not saying that it's explained. And this is all just opinion, you know, obviously. But like I saw Mike and I saw Elle and I saw Dustin and I was like, wow. And then I saw Lucas and I was like,
I agree with that. He was probably the out of all the kids, he was probably the worst.
Keeping up, you're doing good.
Dude,
you know,
that slingshot scene, man. I still love this. I just laughed out loud during the slingshot scene, like when he was just firing rocks at the monster. I mean, that part at least made up for some of those scenes with Lucas, him trying to kill it with the rocks.
I thought it had a weak point in its mouth when he shot that last thing.
It's like Diva.
I was thinking, oh god, it's the weak point mouth. And when he shot it in there, I was like, oh shit, what did he do to that thing? I'm like, wait a second, Elle's right next to him. She's got telekinetic powers. She just threw him against the wall.
Oh man, that's so good.
It's a wrist rocket, not a slingshot.
Yeah, my bad. Wrist rocket.
Wow, way to demean everything, ChanManV.
I used to have one of those things though, a long time ago, actually. All right, well, why don't we wrap up and why don't we talk a little bit about next week, what we're going to do, or at least the next show. It's not actually going to be next week because I'm actually going to be out on family vacation next week, so we'll have to do it 2 weeks. But what are we going to be talking about next?
The Killing Joke.
The Killing Joke.
Both the graphic novel and the movie adaptation. And there you go.
I don't know anything about this, so this is gonna be.
I don't either.
Tell us why Nick suggested this. So Nick, sell us on this. Why do we care about this?
It's one of the most iconic Batman comics. It's written by Alan Moore of Watchmen and the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen fame, and it's extremely dark, and it gives a really, really interesting origin story for the Joker. It's just fucking good. It's just a great book. It's short. You can read it like in an hour, and it's just like probably one of the best Batman comics ever. And then they adapted it into a cartoon movie with Mark Hamill as the Joker and the guy that voiced Batman in the cartoon show as Batman. And he's in Arkham, basically in the Arkham video games. It's like the voice actors from that. But they added an extra 30 minutes to the beginning of it to make it give it a runtime of a feature film, and apparently those 30 minutes are really controversial, and everyone hates it. But then as soon as they get to the actual comics part of it, like it's perfect. So it'll make for a good conversation. We can talk about the book and then the movie and compare them and everything. I feel like that'll make it.
So for those of you who are watching, and again, this is so a lot of you may not know this. The show has got a book clubbish kind of feel to it. So what we were hoping you guys do over the next couple weeks is get your hands on The Killing Joke in its graphic novel form and the movie form if you can. If not, one or the other. And then come back in 2 weeks when we have the third episode and be able to talk about it. So that's kind of what this show is about too, is allowing you guys to know what we're going to talk about next week. So you guys have time if you want to participate in the show and watch the show and talk about the spoilers and stuff.
I'd recommend just going for the comic book if you can't see the movie, because I know it's not playing all over the place. You can rent it on Amazon for like $7, I think, or something. but that might be, it's a streaming thing, so it might not be available everywhere, you know, that kind of thing. So comic book that you can get off Amazon on like a Kindle, or you can go to your comic book shop and read it there or whatever. Because if you read the comic, that we can't spoil shit for you except for how we feel about the first 30 minutes of the movie, and that'll let you know if you actually want to watch it, you know. So like comic book is probably the best one for you to do your homework on.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna reconvene in 2 weeks because Chairman's got some family vacation time coming up next week, and then we're going to talk about this stuff. You had me sold on Alan Moore. I didn't even know that he wrote this, which Watchmen comic is one of my favorite graphic novels of all time, if not my favorite. So I'm really surprised I haven't really dove more into his work. So that's what I like about the show. I'm gonna get to explore new things. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is gonna be our first comic, and you know, to be honest, I haven't really been a big comic guy before. I mean, I like all the, you know, superheroes, and you know, I definitely have seen some here or there, but I never collected comics. And actually, if there is comics I collected, there were Hong Kong comics. They weren't actually, you know, American comics. So this would be cool. This is, no, not hentai. Not hentai.
Hentai.
More kung fu.
He's like
type of
Hong Kong comics.
Kong
yeah. Yeah. Okay. We all know we all know.
Wrong country, dude. No, but anyways, yeah, I'm excited to get a chance to read it too. But just a reminder, guys, everybody, that we mentioned it when we kicked off the show. We have audio versions of this podcast now. So not only obviously you guys are watching it live, but you know, if you missed the beginning of it, want to, you know, listen to it on your drive up to work or whatnot, you can find it on iTunes now, as well as Google Music Podcast. And one thing, since it's just getting on into the stores, a big thing on the stores is really just to get a big push in the beginning. So if you enjoy the show, go and leave a review, or leave a, you know, comment and a 5-star review, and that helps.
5 stars.
5 stars. Yeah. If you don't like the show, ignore everything I'm saying. Okay.
Listen,
but if you
I'm gonna be the one
to
say that you give it whatever rating you
no,
feel.
No,
like you
no,
give it, all right?
No,
all right.
Don't
but if
do
you
that.
don't give it a
They're all
5,
gonna do
we'll find you. We will fuck you.
You get access to the back end at iTunes.
You have every right to do whatever you want with it, but god damn it if you don't give us
yeah, so anyways, you can do that. You can help, you know, you obviously can help out the show in a big way if you do that. But yeah, should we just wrap up, do some shout outs?
Yeah,
I'm good. You want to post a link to the iTunes in the chat?
Oh yeah, quick? Let me do that. Oh, that would help. in the meantime, you want to do some shout outs, or let folks know where they can find you, Diction?
Sure. Hi, I'm eatmydiction1.
Hi.
You find me at twitch.tv/eatmydiction1. I stream about 6 days a week. I'll be streaming like in about an hour on my channel. I'm going to play this game called Abuzu. I got a code for that, so I'm going to check it out. It's like an underwater adventure game. Abuzu. No, we don't talk about a Zubo.
Zuba.
All right, that's me. Hey, I get to meet you.
Okay, but here's the iTunes link, guys.
Oh.
There you go.
Boom. 5 stars, go.
5 stars, go. Quick. It's a race.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, I'm Ellohime. I used to stream on Twitch.
I used to stream on Twitch.
Now he streams on Abuzu.
God, man. It's the last couple weeks have just been just family stuff. So hopefully I'll be getting back into it as soon as tomorrow. But I don't know. So just kind of hang with me. I would keep you guys updated on Twitter, but there's not much I can really talk about. So it's all family shit. So I know it's real cryptic and whatever, but
it's your life, dude. Your life.
It's your life. It's your life. So anyways, basically just come back here for the show right now is all I can really say with confidence. So that's about all I'm doing.
Cool. Me, just, you know, you can find, I guess, all of my channels, ChanManV, so Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. VODs for the show will be on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ChanManV, and you can find last week's episode there too if you missed that. That was Game of Thrones season 6, so that was a lot of fun too. And yeah, just thank you two for doing the show with me every week. It's been a lot of fun. These first 2 episodes have been great.
Yeah,
and our callers too. Our callers and everybody that asked questions too. You know, obviously we had a little bit of a hiccup there, but we'll smoothen those things out next time we do it. But man, some of those questions blew my mind. So this is going good. Just including you guys, I think it's a really, really great thing.
Yeah, and if you guys have any feedback
Yes.
Constructive feedback, please. My DMs are open on Twitter. Shoot me over some stuff. I know some of you did. I won't reply to everybody unless but we took a lot of what you guys said before and we added, and now you guys will probably see the show change quite a bit this year as we take more feedback and we kind of refine things and fine tune them. Yeah. So yeah, your feedback is welcome and it's necessary, and we want to make the show super fun. So if you want to tell your friends about it too, let them know that we're going to be going over The Killing Joke next in 2 weeks, and come back and join us again then, and then we can have an open conversation about that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for spoiler alerts this week. So for Eat My Diction, Ellohime, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Later.